What's going on, everyone? It is your friendly neighborhood Najloke, and I am here with a nice, shiny, new mech build tutorial for all you new guys out there. I am going to sit here for the next few minutes and teach you how to properly build a mech. This video is for any new MechWarrior Online players out there that want a simple point-by-point instruction. Exactly, that's it. Point by point, this video is for you. If you want that, if you're looking for that, if you don't know what you're doing and you're just new to the game, this is the video for you. We will be going over weapons types, mech types, weight classes, and hopefully answer any questions you might have about building a mech. And yeah, this Shadowhawk 2D is going to be one of our friendly volunteers, we'll call it. First off, we will start with the weight classes. You have your light mechs, which are the faster, low-powered for weaponry, generally, and agile mechs who sprint around the battlefield and help out in, quick flanking maneuvers. Next up, we have the medium weight class, which is the slower than the light mechs, but still fairly quick. They are lower powered than the general heavy and assault mechs, but they still have a bit more weaponry than light, and they are still fairly agile with jump jets and so forth. Third, we have the heavy mechs. They're even slower. They have quite a bit of firepower, usually mounting 6 or more guns. Actually, it's gone up to probably 10 or more guns at this point in the game, but they have a lot of firepower and they can use it well with a lot of armor. We have the assaults. They are the slowest. They have all of the firepower and all of the armor for days. As you can see, these guys are actual behemoths weighing up to 100 tons. They are the front line, they take the most damage, and are also the bigger targets on the field. This is the one that I wanted. And we are going to take a look at the loadout by going to the Mech Lab Loadout. We are looking at it here, there's this big screen, we don't know what's going on, that is fine. What you want to know for every single mech is your tonnage, which is right up there, and then obviously this one is a medium, it's inner sphere, which you can find up there along with its model and variant. The next thing you are going to look for is the hard points. The hard points are your weapons loadout. They can be split up into energy, missile, ballistic, AMS. There is also an orange one for ECM. So what that means for this Shadowhawk in particular is that we have hard points and it can only fit one laser on or energy weapon on its right arm. So we go to energy and we pick the medium pulse laser. Alright, so that's pretty much the gist of it there. Many mechs will have many different layouts for their hard points and everything else, and you want to take that into consideration when you're building or buying a mech. As you can see here, this Shadowhawk, when I strip the mech down to the bones, has one on its right arm, one on its right torso, one missile on its right torso, one missile on its head, one missile on its center torso, and one ballistic and one AMS on its left torso. It also has 2 energy hard points on its left arm. So when you're building a mech, you want to take that into consideration. So we are looking at a stripped down Shadowhawk here, and we can add lasers, like so. We can add a ballistic, like so. Or, if you're so inclined, the missiles you can also add. Doesn't matter which kind you have as long as the blue matches up or the yellow matches up, purple matches up. As long as you have the hard points available, 1 hard point per weapon, no matter how many slots it takes up on your mech. Next thing we're actually going to look at is going to be the engines. You have 3 different types of engines. You have the standard engine. It goes directly into the center torso, and it doesn't have any overlap for any of the other torsos. So that means if you lose your right torso, you won't blow up. If you lose your left torso, you will not blow up. Nothing will happen to your mech. You can keep going and keep fighting as long as you have that center torso piece and your engine is alive. That is the standard engine. For the XL engine, and we'll see that it takes up slots on the torsos, left and right. That also means with the XL alone, they are lighter than the standard engine, but if you lose your left or your right torso, you will die, period. That is key with the XL engines. They're also more expensive down here. And yeah, it's very important to know that if you're going to run an XL engine, you better not lose your torsos. Next one we have is the light engines. They're similar to the XL engines, and they're the newest type of engines for the Innisphere, in that they take up slots on your torsos. You can see that here. There's a light engine 360, light engine 360, and then on the center. But the key to the light engines, and this is what makes it the most valuable in my opinion out of all the engine types in the Innisphere range, is that if you lose a right torso, you will not die, despite the fact that you have slots taken up by your engine in there. You will only lose your available speed. So you'll go from 80 kilometers per hour top speed to 70 kilometers. If you lose your left one, you'll go from 70 to 60. It's cumulative and everything else, but if you're running around with only your center torso, your head, and your two legs, then, well, you're pretty much dead at that point anyways, but that's besides the point. You can survive with a lost torso on the light engine. Another point I would like to bring up quickly on the engines is that mechs, as you can see down here, require a minimum of 10 heat sinks to function. The minimum engine that you could put in under any class, XL, light, or standard, is 250 to get those 10 heat sinks by default. So you can see the bracketed number in there represents your engine heat sinks, and that means you have 10. This mech could theoretically run, even though it's not that good. If you were to drop it down to 240, you will see that you get a warning and that you require one more heatsink. Obviously, engine size will depend on what kind of mech you're running, what weight class, and everything else. But that is one thing to keep in mind, is that you want to try and aim for the minimum engine size of 250. The last thing I wanted to touch on before we wrap up this video is the Innisphere mechs, in particular the ones that have the omnipods. As you can see here, you can actually change out the torsos, the legs, and everything else with regards to your mech. So what that means is that we can strip this mech down, and this is for clan only. And you can go over to Omnipod, and if you decide that you don't want 3 lasers or energy hard points on your left torso, you can click to left torso, and then you can bring in the 1 and 1 missile. So that is important to remember when you're thinking about building your mech, especially if you're deciding to run clan mechs. You, by the way. I kid. Clan mechs have their place in some places. But that is very important, is that many clan mechs will have this omnipod system in which you can replace entire body parts with different parts. And that is important to keep in mind. With that, though, you'll see that any integral features, such as the engine, jump jets, these will be fixed on the mech itself. There will be no changing them unless you change the omnipod that goes with them. So that about wraps it up for my little build guide. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop a comment and let me know, and I will help you out the best I can. And thank you for watching. This has been Najlok. I hope you enjoyed the video and it helps you out. Have a good one.